Ladies and gentlemen, today is another beautiful day here in Lalibela. It's very early morning. It is around 7:30 a.m. In general, Lalibela town is very small. So as you can see, almost no cars are passing by here. And if you see the cars, it's most of the time it is like a tourist buses, tourist cars that take people from place to place. But most of the time you're gonna see the tuk-tuks. So you can hop onto tuk-tuks for $1, less than $2. You can go from place to place, which is pretty easy to navigate yourself around the city. Or you can just walk almost anywhere. I think in 20-25 minutes you can go from place to place pretty easily. Alright, I'm looking for a path. Will take us to St. George Church, the streets of Lalibela. It looks organized, it looks nice. It's not asphalt, but more like this kind of rocks from probably the volcanic rocks or river rocks that they created this pretty streets. And I also heard that they probably do that because when the big machinery work in the city, they don't want to damage the churches because they are so ancient. That's why they're not using like asphalt. They don't use big machinery to press the asphalt on the road. So that's why they're using manpower to create all these roads. And I think at the same time it also becomes a little bit cheaper experience. All right guys, we are on the way to one of the coolest things you will ever see in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we just made it to St. George Church, which has been carved from the earth, and I'm gonna show you just in a bit. It's just behind me, and there are a few ways you can get to the complex as it is massive and it's spread around. So you can use the official entrance, you can come from unofficial entrance, but you should always have a ticket. And the ticket you buy, it's actually valid for 5 days, and you pay around $100 to be exact. I paid $100 for the entrance, and that gives you the chance for 5 days to explore. So you can come anytime when they're open, in the morning, in the afternoon. You can come explore for 5 days straight. So that comes to around $20 a day. But for the locals, if you have an Ethiopian ID, then it is free entrance. So people who come here to do prayers, who is coming here to get blessings, it doesn't cost any money for them. And I think it is kind of fair, because as a foreigner, if you come from very far away, it means that you have got the money to spend and invest on this place. I think that I see the money as an investment, because they can protect it for the future generations. They can take a good care of it. They can put a light system. They can make sure that the people who come to the pilgrimage has better experience from every aspect. So $100 for entrance for foreigners. For Ethiopians, $0. But if you are Ethiopian but has got another citizenship in another country, let's say you're coming from diaspora, then in this case you pay $50. So that's the prices. How are you, brother? Good to see you. You want the ticket? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So here the ticket. Thank you so much. I'm Mesagin Alahu. So my guide got the ticket. Thank you so much. Thank you. So my guide got the ticket for me. So if you come from unofficial entrances, there are gonna be people that checking your ticket, but no hassle. Just have it ready, just in case. So this is the church, guys, which we're gonna admire just in a bit. Wow, look at this. This is the St. George Church, and we are gonna go a little bit closer. But one of my advice is that when you're visiting the complex, be extremely careful where you're stepping on, because if you fall maybe 30-40 meters down, and you don't want to have that experience in your vacation. So as you can see, there's no barricades or nothing that holds you back from falling down. So you have to be very careful. I think I'm gonna take the other approach because the sun is from the other side, and I will give you more details about the church. So this church is being built around 800-900 years ago. So more than 800 years old church, and this is purely carved from the mountain. So the same rock you see right here, it is the same rock they used to carve down, make this kind of open area, and then from the inside they started carving again to make a room inside which functions as a church, which is incredible. And this bedrock is not an easy thing to carve, so it took them to build 11 churches in 23 years, and that's like more than 30,000 people who worked here, who mastered making churches like this in this region. So in Lalibela complex there are 11 carved churches just like this one. All right, I think we get a little bit better perspective, better light from this angle. Look at this, guys. It looks absolutely amazing. And when you're actually close enough, or when you're high enough, let's say this is one of the high points, but you can also go all the way up there, and you see that the building is actually shaped like a cross. So when you look at it from the top, you can see that it is like a plus sign, but it is also like a religious cross. So we know the Latin cross, which is like longer and then like this, but this is a Greek cross. It's called Greek cross, and Greek cross is kind of looks like a plus sign, but Latin one is the traditional one we all know. So it is incredible how they actually managed to carve this from the mountain. It is absolutely incredible to just admire it from a distance, but you can also take your chance to go down, and then you can go inside of the church as well. It has windows, it has a drainage system. As you can see, when it rains at the top, all the water drains out from here. And these drainage systems you see that push the water out, it is built from the bedrock as well. It's not put on later on, whatever. I think they are doing chantings as well downstairs there. Oh no, they're laughing. I'm not sure if this is chanting or is it just kids that playing around. So the king Lalibela, he is the one decided to invest on these churches, and his vision was to create New Jerusalem. You might be asking, why New Jerusalem? So Lalibela, the king, he wanted to create an African Jerusalem here in Africa for the Christian, for the believers to come and do their prayers and come here for pilgrimage. That was his objective and his vision, and I think it did work out because he himself, Lalibela, he actually lived over 10 years in Jerusalem, but afterwards he realized that how difficult it becomes for the believers to go to this land to do their pilgrimage. You can imagine, you have to cross rivers, you have to cross oceans, you have to go through Muslim areas, so it was becoming much more difficult for people to make their pilgrimage. So that is why his objective was like, I'm gonna build the New Jerusalem, African Jerusalem right here, so my people can come and do their prayers and come here as a pilgrimage. And that's exactly what is happening as of today. There are lots of people from all around Ethiopia for days, maybe for a month. They travel by foot and barefoot, come from around Ethiopia and come do their pilgrimage, and in the same way they actually leave back to where they came from, which is pretty incredible to think about. So that's what we have right now. After 800 years, these structures are standing so strong and beautifully. I think this is one of the best angles where you can look at it from this angle, so you see every corner, every window, and it's so thoughtfully designed that you see that like this bedrock, like it goes like this, right? So the rooftop of it, the rooftop of the church was the same as here before, but then they started carving from up to down, and then they created this. When I come here, this actually kind of reminds me of Petra in Jordan. If you know about Petra, which is one of the wonders of the world, it is also the same way has been built. Basically, it is carved from the mountain, and that's why they're standing for centuries, because it is part of the earth It is part of the you know, tectonic zones, tectonic plates, which means if there are earthquakes, if there is natural disasters, if there's earthquake, then whole plate is moving, and then these churches and these structures will never be destroyed. So it is so smart, and that's why they stay so long. And even if the invader comes here and they try to destroy this, in that times it was harder, but even right now I think it's super hard to destroy something like this, like purposefully, if, you know, invaders come around. So that's why it stays so many centuries for us, and I'm so grateful about it. It is absolutely beautiful. I think they are actually doing the chantings, and because this long, it couldn't be a joke. So probably they are doing the chantings and prayers, and that's what you are hearing from the inside of the church. Absolutely masterpiece. And as I mentioned, there are 11 churches, and this one stands alone. And there are other areas. There's 6 together and then 4 together. 4, 6, and 1. St. George is the last one they have built, and that's why this is the most recognized one. It's the most perfect one, because they built 10 other churches and then they mastered their skills, and then they built this one as a masterpiece. And they just dropped the microphone. They said, okay, this is it. This is the best one we could have ever achieved. And that's what we are having here, and that's what we are admiring. Hello. So when you are here with the kids, if you are here with the family, you have to be extremely careful not to go to the edge, and be very, very careful. So they were super smart, which means they did create a system that drains the water, because if there is no proper drainage system, which means your church becomes like a pool, it becomes like a water tank, because you can imagine how much it rains here in Ethiopia, and when it rains it can fill up with the water, it can become like a swimming pool. But they are so smart, of course. So what they did, they digged even more, not only for the church, but also to drain the water, but also take out all the rocks and the trash and all the earth coming out from the bedrock, to take it out. So that's what we are looking at here. So as you can see, nothing is covered here, so you have to be extremely careful. And I'm sorry that if I'm not looking at the camera too much, but on my footsteps, so we don't fall down there. As you can see, imagine how much like earth and rocks needs to come out from here. But even before that, you need to dig it by hand. We are talking about 800-900 years ago, which means no proper machinery, no big machines, no tractors, nothing like that. It was all manpower and animal power to take out the things, dig step by step. So they were using chisels. Chisels, I think, is the right word. You hold it and then you put the hammer on top, and that's how you dig it slowly. Like, this is the rock I'm talking about, guys. Imagine this rock. You need to dig this much down, and then afterwards start carving it to make it in a perfect shape. So it was difficult, but I think when people believe in things, everything is possible. All right, this is one of the ways how to enter, but there's also another passage that takes you there. We just made it to the viewpoint. So what they have done, actually, all the rocks came out from the church. They put it here on this to create this little hill. So this is the viewpoint, and I think their point was to make it more impressive and more effective for the people who is coming here and seeing the church from a little bit above. So as you can imagine, no drones that time, so you need to create this little nice natural hill to actually create the effect. And that is exactly what we are looking at, guys. It is incredible, absolutely incredible. Especially when you're in this viewpoint, you appreciate it even more. Like, they thought about every single detail, the drainage system, the windows, doors, columns inside. It's just amazing. And I also have to explain you that it is like carving a sculpture of a person. Let's say you are just creating a sculpture from the one piece of rock, right? And then you are working on it, and then you accidentally just broke the arm of the statue, let's say. then you have no other way but throw it away and start it again, because it's not one piece of rock anymore. So it is the same here. What's the difference is that they are doing it even in a bigger scale. And if you make a mistake, let's say if you open the window too big, then the symmetry is not there anymore. But when you look at these churches, you realize that how perfect it is. Like, they mastered it so good that it is so precise. All the measurements and all the details are perfectly done, which gives you the opportunity to enjoy it so much, but also gives you opportunity to appreciate how amazingly it has been done, that, you know, no mistakes has been occurred in these churches that they have built, which is absolutely breathtaking and mind-blowing. Like, even the drainage system, if you don't have that little drainage system there, if you break it by chance, if you hit it too hard and then it broke, that's it. Like, you cannot fix it. You can fix it with mud, you can fix it with concrete. I think concrete wasn't available that time, but still, you can fix it with concrete now. But then it will not be the same. After few decades, it will just break down and then it will go away. So that's how precise they were while building this beautiful churches here in Lalibela. And also, one of the things you have to notice, that when you are looking at in the surrounding areas, you see almost no church at all. This is one of the most religious places in Ethiopia. It's the most religious place for Christianity in Ethiopia, if not in whole Africa. But you don't see any churches, and that was because they wanted to build the churches underground to actually prevent it from the invaders, prevent it from the people who come here, see it from a distance and then attack to the villages, attack to the pilgrimage people, attack to the town in general. So that's why they were actually building it underground to keep it safe. And when you are coming from a distance, even when you are in your hotel room, you cannot see these churches. So you have to literally come here to the viewpoint, and then afterwards you can see what is down there. So their idea was that to make it stand forever from the bedrock, but also protect it from the invaders coming from outside. So that was very, very smart idea.